What do you call a lineup of people waiting to get haircuts? A barbecue. What's going on, YouTube? It's our weekly vendor refresh, which means we're starting in the Infinite Archive inside Apocrypha. This is a free-to-play area, and we talk to Filer Ool because he has our first couple things that we can purchase. So there's 3 vendors. They rotate every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and restart with the Black Etheric Pearls. Now, I was excited when I first saw this because I saw drops from Infinite Archive chests, and then I realized it's for the clothing station, and I already have the clothing station. Do you know why? It's because I didn't want it. If you don't want something, it's going to come inside the chest for you. So the key is just tell RNG that you don't want something, and then you'll get it. Next up is Mora's Tendrils, or Treadles, actually, rather. Now, this one can be a really annoying lead. It's for the Sea Serpent's Coil, which is a very good PvP mythic, and it comes from a really annoying thing, and that is clam gal nodes. So finding clams, you can even see in the picture that they give on ESO Hub, great resource, by the way, that they're very hard to spot. Sometimes they're even like in the water. So if you're trying to avoid going and running in circles and picking up clam gal, which to be fair, decent gold method, clam gal is still pretty good, although it's going to plummet during the Tamriel event because everybody's going to be farming geysers again. All of that to say, you may want to purchase this, especially if you hate resource farming. So it could be pretty decent if you want to try to get a 5,000 archival fortune. Bit of a time saver. Next up from Wayrest, we have the bound style page Slime Crawl, which makes you look like a bit of an alligator, the sliming and crawling. Now, usually I like to tell you if this is good money for value. Well, here's a problem. There are no listings currently on PC, which is usually the best basis that I can get on if something is worth it. So, maybe if you want to look like an alligator, this is the perfect helmet for you. In fact, if you want to be an alligator, I would tell you that this is actually the best helmet for you to get for your style. 15,000 archival fortunes is an investment, but I know some of you guys specifically go after the bound style pages with those archival fortunes because you can get some really rare collectibles in that way. Arteron treasure maps, easy skip. Even the stuff that does drop from there, not worth 2,000 archival fortunes. You can buy these treasure maps for a couple hundred gold. Next up, we have companion equipment weapons. Now, these are the biggest gamble because you're probably going to get weapons or pieces that you just don't need. And that's going to be very problematic for you because you oftentimes, so say you're rolling for heavy armor and you're like, oh, well, I got soothing, whatever, I'll still throw it on because even if I have extra pieces, you know, I could still wear those and it'll be fine. If you, however, are in a situation where you're getting like a dagger and you want to heal, you know, that's a big problem for you to overcome. So I think that's where companion weapons can be a big risk. But also, too, if you do get the right pieces in the right trades, it could be a good reward as well. Generally, though, I would recommend to skip it. Next up are our 2 books, which I physically cannot skip or else everybody unsubscribes, which is just a reminder to subscribe. We have our Critter Dangers, Telvanni Peninsula. Fantastic read if you want to know all the dangers of the Telvanni Peninsula. And then we have the Journal of Cullenway, which sounds very formalized and almost from Lord of the Rings. So give him a bit of a read. Give him some support. You can find this at your local Barnes & Nobles. Next up, we have Cowardice, Lifesteal, Restore Resources, and Immobilizing Strikes. These are good scripts, as always, but Archival Fortunes being a premium currency makes it hard to suggest. Now, I love Restore Resources because you can pair that and get tons of regenerations by pairing that with tri-stats, potions, and then getting your regens to stack major and minor regen buffs. Immobilizing Strike is just convenient because when people are immobilized by striking them, fantastic combo. One of the top 5 best combos you could do in the game if you're trying to kill somebody. Stealing somebody's life, that seems pretty good as well. And then turning them into a coward. Well, some people don't even need to use the script to do that. So decent scripts. I don't necessarily think any are worth the script value for them. Hopefully in the other vendor we look at, we can buy some with gold. But these are all good. You probably are going to use these over your time in playing ESO, but just do some daily quests and you'll get all these anyway. Next up, we have some Runebox fragments. The first one is the Kitten's Milk Saucer. You can buy this pretty much for a very affordable price on the ESO open market. It drops from a public dungeon. Next one is Fragment of Madness, which actually comes from the Vaults of Madness. Crazy, I know. And if you do that one time, you get it. So 5,000 archival fortunes, probably not worth skipping a dungeon that easy. And Malographic Ichor just drops from the Infinite Archive. I guess if you're close, 15,000 archival fortunes just to get the mount. Decent money for value if you want a mount, but if you're farming it enough, you probably also don't need to buy a whole bunch of these as well, and it appears pretty frequently. Now, next up inside the Scholarium, we have our Scholarium Vendor. Now, he sells us Scrips for gold, which is significantly better. All the items up here, these are all static. These Scrips down here all change every week. We start with Berserk, just fine for gold. It's probably a decent buy just to ensure that you have it, but you're probably getting Berserk from other places. Mangle, same thing, cheap, but fine. Frost damage, I think, is good if you want to have it, especially if you're going into the Warden type mainstream of, Warden PvP. Frost damage seems to be pretty popular, and so is Anchorite's Cruelty. Anchorite's Cruelty, highly slept on. I think it's a big damage dealer as long as you're okay consuming the Soul Gem. You deal a ton of damage with this bad boy, so this is a really good one to have also, and because it's a signature script, it doesn't drop as often as some of these other ones. Now, if you don't have these unlocked already, they do cost a little bit more gold, so just keep that in mind for yourself as well. And next up, we have our Telvar Weekly Vendor. You can find them now inside of your Lambient Passageway. And if you talk to them, they're going to give you an assortment of items as well. We actually start with some gold sets. Always nice to start out with those. We start with Beckoning Steel. These are all PvP sets, which just means they all come from PvP places, such as, this one comes from Vlastrus, I believe. And generating an aura causes you and 11 other group members within that aura to take 10% less damage from projectiles. And this benefits through death as well. So you can just be dead on the ground and giving a buff to you and 11 group members. It's 2, 3, and 4 is armor, health, armor. And I think that this is something that you would include in some group compositions. It's just hard to know anything about a set like this because it's never been in my purview to use this. Would this be, an auto include, for ball groups? I suspect not with power creep. I think it's, 5 piece is fine. So I'm just going to give this a 7.0 with the expectation that even if this was a better set, the odds of you buying it with 100k Telvar are almost zero anyway. So it feels safe to put as a 7.0 just for that reason. This next one is Wizard's Repose, which when you take direct critical damage, you apply minor veneration to the enemy for 5 seconds, reducing their critical damage done by 5%. You also get a 5 piece of 660 crit resistance and a 2, 3, and 4 of max health, weapon and spell, and magicka recovery. I mean, this is a set that's all over the place. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, and other 5-piece sets are just doing a bit too much, as the kids say. And I think that what it does can be good in some aspects. For example, having 660 crit resistance as a 5-piece allows you to use other pieces on your armor to do things like well fitted. You could put some divines pieces on, so you could get a little extra value from that crit resistance. Now, the problem is that it's always really cattywampus when you have a 5-piece set that somebody else has to do something to you. For example, they have to deal critical damage to you to get your bonus to apply onto them. And that's always a little bit weird. It's somewhat better if it's something like when you take damage, you have a chance to go Super Saiyan and deal crazy amounts of damage. But really, when you do get this bonus, you're just taking less critical damage from them. So it's like, ow, ow, ow. Okay, slightly less. Ow. Ow, it hurts a little bit less. So, I mean, it's fine. We'll just give it like a 6.0. It's not like going to hurt you if you use a set like this, but you're just not doing enough that's helpful for yourself. Next up is actually a pretty good lead. It is the Dark Seducer Cameo. Now, when this bad boy was first released, it probably was worth buying with Telvar because everybody and their mom was inside the Reaper's March, inside the Vile Man's public dungeon, just waxing these bosses inside of there. So then it was probably a really good lead to buy. Now it's like just spend a couple minutes just going and getting it. Now this is probably on one of the best in slot, mythics in the game. So if you wanted to really push to get it and you didn't want to waste time, 25k Telvar sure is a decent chunk of gold. But I do think it's perfectly fine if you did want to use some of your Telvar currency, if you had a lot of it, to skip this. But that's the conversation I would have with myself. The next one is Petrified Snow Cedar. Now, if you are playing on console, maybe you want to buy this because the Rift Zone Chat could be a little bit crazy to kind of sift through. Now, it just comes from the Rift by killing world bosses, so it's actually really easy to get, but man, make sure you're not connected to voice chat, or this goes from an easy one to get to one that might actually shatter your eardrums. Next up is Balfoyen. Now, I don't think that it's worth investing in these either. You can usually find them being listed for a couple hundred gold pieces. And even at their best peak value, only like 1,000 to 2,000 gold. Now, next up, we have the actual ring versions of what we talked about earlier, so we can skip those. And then we have Empower, Pull, and War Mage's Defense. The problem with these is that it's much more expensive if you don't have these unlocked. And if you're just doing Cyrodiil daily quests, you're probably getting most of these as is. So I would say most of these are also in a bit of the skip category as well, unless you desperately need some of these bad boys. And we finish off with a Delve Fragment of Baloth the Monoth. Now this one just comes from the Delve here at the tippy top. You can see you just got to kill the corrupted scion of Baloth Maloth and press 3 buttons on the pillar to summon the boss. So very straightforward. It is from a Craglorn Delve though, so it is a little bit more tricky, but still, if you're going to spend 5,000 Telvar, you probably want to be saving yourself from doing like a dungeon that's a little annoying, maybe even a cattywampus trial. So for a Delve, even if it's more one of the trickier Delves, it's a skip for me. And so everyone, thank you guys so much again for watching. I do just want to quickly note something tragic that happened. So last week I was super excited to get my 3rd piece that I had purchased outright for the Torque of the Alien King, only to forget to purchase it because I needed a little bit more archival fortunes. So me and my boy David were going to farm it this weekend, but then I got really sidetracked watching My Name is Earl and being in Greyhost the whole weekend, so I forgot. And we're still now only at 2 out of 5 for the Torque of the Alien King, so tragedy has struck. But all of that sadness aside, thank you so much again for watching. As always, we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you need to do to enter is leave a comments below. Just tell me anything. Second thing is just make sure you're subscribed / following on Twitch and Twitter. I can also now see recent subscribers. So if you guys want me to put at the end of the videos, just like, hey, thanks, shout out to these recent people, let me know. And the third thing is look for a hidden word be flashed upon the screen. If you're the first person to find and comment that word, you will win. Have a happy Tuesday. Again, these vendors go all the way until next Tuesday, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.